It is said that in order to have an engaging video, the scene needs to change every 1 to 2 seconds. See how I did that, guys? I just changed the scene by moving from that couch to over here to this little chair. So in order to have the scene change often in your video, you're gonna have to do that through the filming or the editing or both. I just recently did that with my daughter's music video. She did all the singing, she did all the costume changes, all the background changes, right? And I did everything else in the editing. So every 1 to 2 seconds in a 3.5 minute video, the scene changed. And that made for truly a more engaging video. So how are you gonna do that for your talking head videos? Well, a lot of people will do it in the editing, and they'll use Ken Burns as a tool or a feature, and you'll see them kind of zoom in and maybe zoom out doing the Ken Burns. I'll do it right here. I'm not going to move the camera. I'll do the Ken Burns right here for you to see how it kind of zooms in very slowly and then zooms out, right? So another way that I achieve this for my cooking show is I have this same camera right here. This is the Canon G7X Mark II. You can't even buy these cameras anymore. When I bought this 8 years ago, it was $500. Now it's $1,500 refurbished. Everybody loves these cameras. The one thing that I don't like about this camera is the sound. It doesn't have where you could plug a mic in, and it always sounds like a fan is rolling. So if you hear that in my background, it's the camera doing that, okay? So, but I like it for the car because the thing flips up and the lens is wide enough that I can hold it right here, and I have to extend my arms all the way over there, right? So I'll have this camera and I'll put it on a can of refried beans where it can tip down slightly, and I can move it around really fast, more quickly than if I put it on a tripod, right? So I move it around. Maybe it's on the left hand side of me. Say hi, Joe.
Hello, people.
Maybe it's on the right hand side of me. Maybe it's on the back burner of the stove when I'm putting something in the pot, or maybe it's off to the left. Maybe I have it to where you can see the fire. You know, I put it on the counter, you can see the fire when I light the flame. People like to see that. People are fire starters for the most part. They love to see the flame come on in cooking videos, like that, right? So I'll do that a lot. Unfortunately, you can't do that if you have an electric stove, right? So I move it around a lot, and then I'll also do things where I'll set another camera on the dinner table, and you can do that if you have several cameras, and you can also do it if you have one camera. You just have to go set it up, move it back and forth, right? It's a little bit more involved if you only have one camera. So I have several cameras that I've bought over time. I didn't buy all of them one lick, and so I put a camera on the dinner table, then I have one on the stand on the floor in front of the counter, and then I have this one right here on my hand, and you can cut away to all these angles, right? And people tend to like to see not just the close-up of what you're doing when it comes to the cooking video. They tend to like to see the far away too, because they want to feel like they're there with you in the kitchen. Now you can also put the camera inside the oven, but let me warn you, you have to put the camera in the oven before you put the oven on. So if I'm gonna do like a cake or a bread, before I preheat the oven, I'll put the camera in, put the item in the oven as if the oven's on, right? And then close the door, go right back, take the thing out, take the camera out, then preheat the oven, and then bake the thing. And if I want to show it after it's baked, he's laughing because he knows I go, Joe, am I lying? Don't I go through all of this? Okay, and he doesn't get it. He goes, why are you doing all of that though? And I'm like, because people want to see these shots. So then when the bread or the cake is done baking, I'll let the oven cool down completely. I'll cool down the bread. They can't cut it. That's the hardest part. They can't cut it. I can do it easier with cake because cake has to cool down to be frosted anyways, but with bread it's kind of hard to do it at the house because they're waiting for that bread to come out hot. But with whichever one you're doing, a casserole, a cake, a bread, whatever, you let the oven cool down completely. Then you put the camera in it, and then you put the finished product inside the oven, and then you can take it, close it, then take it out, and then remove your camera. I like to do the ones in the freezer and the fridge, and you can actually put the camera in there for, you know, couple of minutes. Well, I don't do it for a whole couple of minutes. I'll put it in there, and then I'll close the door, open it, take my shot, right, take the thing out, close it right back. So that's what, like 5 seconds? Yeah, it's not even a minute, 5 seconds. And I love to do those ones because, and you know what, I used to do one that I haven't done in a long time. I used to put another small camera, a little power shot that I had on top of the fridge because it was super light, super small.
You're going on.
And I would put it on top of the fridge, and you would see behind us And people like that one too, like they're viewing from behind. So they just like different angles. So if you're doing a talking head, you might have to resort to the Ken Burns, or you can do what I've done in my little office space. Now keep in mind that my house has 4 bedrooms, and it wasn't until my middle son got married and moved out 2 years ago that the older son took his room because it's bigger. I'm glad I didn't get that room because it's more towards the back of the house and it doesn't get a lot of good sunlight. I got the front bedroom that my older son had, and we renovated it and turned it into my little office space. So now when I hung things on the wall, I hung them really low. I didn't hang the things at eye level, which is what you're supposed to do when you're hanging photo frames. It's always at eye level. People like to put the stuff way above the door. I'm like, what? Nobody look at stuff above the door, right? So yeah, I hung everything below eye level because I wanted the things to be seen when we're sitting. So this is my little set, my office space, and every wall in this room is a set, a background set. All right, so this wall right here is one, that wall right over there is one, even over there, that's one if I pull the green screen down. And then over here, you would think the computer setup, which is just my office, wouldn't be a background, but it's also a background. People like to see that type of setup if you're talking about technology. And then even this table right here, see this little desk with the chair? If I sit and I have the camera facing the window, that's also another background. And then sometimes I'll sit at this little desk and have the camera on that little stand right there. And then you'll just see this as the background. So this is the way you want to set up your space. And don't tell me that you don't have space in your house to set up a little spot to do your show, because I used to have my desk in my bedroom and you would see my nicely made bed behind me. Then I moved it in the dining room and I put a green screen on the wall and we would sit down and do mukbangs over there. And then I have my spot in front of the fireplace where I can take that little table and that chair and just set up shop over there with my lights and everything, just so I could have a different background. All right, this video started off with me telling you one of the main ways in order to make an engaging video, and that's by making the scene change every 1 to 2 seconds. And look, I've changed the scene already to where it's howling outside with the wind. Anyways, did you guys notice how I changed the scene a lot in this video by cutting away the B-roll? So B-roll is when you tape footage outside of your talking head, you know, me sitting here talking, and then you edit it where you cut away to what I'm saying. So that's another way to make the scene change, because you didn't see me here constantly just sitting on this chair talking to you. I cut away to what I was doing in the kitchen, how I did the camera angles to do the food item, right? And then I cut away to all the other stuff that I was talking about. So that's another way for you to change the scene. Another quick tip as to how you can change the scene in your video: just sit on a chair like this, a swivel computer chair, so you can twist your body that way and move the camera that way, twist it this way and move the camera this way. See, I've moved this way. I want to show you guys something. This is the front of the house and nature is cooperating with me today because the winds are howling. So you can see all that movement behind me, and some people like that. They like when I sit in the window right here and they can see all the movement with people walking on the street, cars going by, and so on and so on. The reason that I'm talking a little bit lower right now is because my son is sleeping right there in that room. He works at night, so he's sleeping in that room there, and so I have to be quiet. So I'm trying to show you guys that there's a lot of things that would hinder me from doing my YouTube channel, but I don't let anything stop me. I really and truly don't. And I don't want you to let anything stop you. I'm imagining that my viewer right now are people 40s, 50s, 60s that want to get started in YouTube. And I'm telling you, you can get started. Don't let anything stop you. As we go along the way on our journey, I'm going to tell you everything that I know. It doesn't mean that it'll work, right? But I want to tell you everything that I know, okay? I won't hold back anything.